thank you to LG for sponsoring this video. But there's one thing that I've learned over the years of reviewing TVs, and I've reviewed a lot of them. Bigger, not necessarily better, at least when it comes to price. But that narrative is definitely starting to shift. We've kind of gotten to the point where the TV tech from the high-end models has trickled down into the company's entire line of TVs, and the price of those larger sets are finally becoming more affordable. And what I have behind me is some of the latest from LG, and as you can see, they're both big. Let us check out the LG QNED 85.
Before I get to everything, my favorite part of videos is thank you guys for supporting me all these years. Give you a chance to win $500. All you gotta do is tell me a comment down below, tell me a dad joke, a fact about yourself. Make sure there's a way to contact you, either in the comment, put your social handle, or if I click on your name, have some way to contact you on your YouTube page. Let it run for 10 days, open to anyone in the world. All information that will be down in the description.
All right, so these two giant TVs behind me are the LG QNED 85, and they're in the 75 and 86 inch variations. And you might be thinking,
great, John showing us more super expensive TVs.
That's not quite the case today, or at least in as far as framing is what generally TVs of this size usually cost. LG is looking to offer cheaper options at the same large sizes. So wasn't that long ago? I remember going to Best Buy and looking at a 65-inch TV and thinking this was the biggest set I've ever seen. TVs were never going to get any bigger. But then everything, things change. And we got bigger sets. We got a 75-inch, and this still looks pretty big. Again, time marches on. And you get this, an 86-inch TV, which I'm a normal size 5'9", 5'10" dude, and it is a gigantic TV, and these things used to cost, as much as a house in a lot of senses. But now the prices have come so far down, you can really just pick the size TV that you want, and if you're in the market for a TV, the price is generally something that can fit most budgets. All right, now keep in mind that's a comparison in just size. The TV I rolled in was an LG OLED G4, amazing TV on definitely a more premium level, but the great part about LG is they are trickling down their features from their higher and premium sets to the more entry to sort of mid-range sets, like these two behind me. These are LCD edge-lit panels. These are a combination of LG's quantum dot technology to really give an extra pop of color and depth to the image while maintaining a sort of brightness and contrast. Think of this kind of next generation of QLED TVs, and when a lot of ads you see are centered around premium price OLEDs, QD OLEDs, or mini LED, probably wouldn't blame you if you forgot that LCD TV tech is still very much a thing and still very much evolving. And the image on LCD TVs have come a huge way in recent years. The brightness is better, contrast is better, colors are more vibrant, and there's more local dimming zones. And some of these premium features that I mentioned, things like advanced processors and 120 Hz displays, have trickled down to these TVs. So the sacrifices you previously had to make when buying a more budget-conscious set was sort of getting smaller and smaller each year. So when you're buying a new affordable TV, the last thing you want to sacrifice is the picture quality. Fortunately and thankfully, that is not an issue anymore. This is probably the closest I've seen any QNED TV get to a mini LED. And the image you get out of the set looks awesome. You're getting really bright whites, really good shadow detail, poppy and vibrant colors without being oversaturated, and the Alpha 8 AI processor 4K inside is adding the right amount of edge detail and upscaling to the image. This is the same processor, by the way, that's in LG's new B4 OLED TV, so LG is really looking to raise the floor on their 2024 lineup. And the AI processing also improves the sound out of the TV with the AI Sound Pro, which does a lot in the background. Kind of all you need to know about that is it makes the sound coming from your TV sound fuller and more clear. Although, if you're like me and generally use soundbars, LG does have some really great soundbar options, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But out of the box, this TV looks good, and it's not something I say very often. I'm used to having to go kind of really deep into the settings to pull out the best picture out of these sets. And while this set, and really everyone, is going to benefit from those tweaks, With what LG's done here, if you don't want to deal with any of that, you're still going to have a really good looking image. So LG's trying to help kind of guide you through these settings tweaks a lot easier with AI Picture Pro, which also does a lot in the background. Primarily it helps kind of up-res sub 4K images to give kind of better clarity overall. It's something called AI Picture Wizard, where you can kind of pick your favorites out of a series of images based on how they will look on your LG TV, and LG will use your choices to kind of set the perfect custom picture profile for you. However, if you're like me and you want to go into those settings, LG added some really nice updates. You still have your standard picture profiles. And to my eye, they all seem to be tuned a little better this year. Even the standard profile feels a little brighter and warmer, which I personally appreciated. Filmmaker mode also received some updates, also looking a little better balanced for those who want to kind of watch content the way the director intended. You'll be happy with these updates. One thing that was surprising was sharing a feature that's also on LG's latest flagship, the OLED G4, is a new professional option for dynamic tone mapping. This is where you can get a lot of granular control over how the TV prioritizes highlight roll-off with HDR content mastered in specific nits of brightness. So like, do you want the TV to preserve highlight detail at the cost of overall picture brightness? Or do you want to preserve shadow detail and brightness at the cost of highlight detail at those peak brightness levels? Or maybe you want it somewhere in between. And this is a giant deal because LG is giving you even more ways to tweak the picture to get even closer and closer to those higher end premium sets. Again, making the sacrifices smaller and smaller if you want a more budgetary set. And listen, I always have the question whenever I talk about these things in a video is why don't the manufacturers just make those presets perfect out of the box? Why can't I just turn on my TV and have it look as the director intended perfectly every time? And the answer is everybody's eyes are different. What's perfect to you is not gonna be perfect to the next person. What one director wanted for one video is not what another director is gonna want for another. So manufacturers and LG is doing here, they're trying to give you the best compromise for everything. But if you want to go through and tweak settings to get it best to your eyes, LG's making it really easy to do now. So I think even though picture quality is the most important thing sort of to most people with TVs, I think design obviously matters too, right? You're getting a nice thin design with slim bezels that'll look great on a wall or a tabletop, how we have it kind of set up here. No matter where you put this TV, I think it's going to look great. So a few things I alluded to earlier in the video. One is a giant deal, 120 hertz, and the other is sound options. So let me talk about those for a minute. LG has been known for a while for their gaming features. A Game Optimizer has some really useful features you can use to get the most out of your gaming experience, and LG's been really good about bringing those premium features like 120 hertz down their line faster than any other brand has. So it's really good to see 120 hertz here again on the more affordable line, along with 4 4K HDMI 2.1 ports on the back. You're also getting in general more color detail in the shadows in their Game Optimizer profile. It's subtle, but it's there. Game Optimizer just gives you a ton of control over how you want to play your games that need to take you out of the game itself. You're also getting additional features like FreeSync, NVIDIA G-Sync, and VRR all the way up to 120 frames per second. And sort of what all that translates to is just like a really gaming experience. You're getting the benefits of Dynamic Tone Mapping Pro to make HDR gaming look even better, a ton of brightness and color detail, and again, all while displaying up to 120 frames per second, depending on the game you're playing. But whatever you're playing, it's going to look really good on the set. The other thing that I wanted to mention was some extra sound options from LG. They carry a ton of options, but the one that we have here is the LG S70Ti. It's a really great match for these QNED TVs. It fits nicely beneath the TV's clearance. So the S70Ti is a Dolby Atmos 3.1.1 channel soundbar, 7-speaker 3D spatial audio. It comes with the main soundbar and the subwoofer, but if you choose to add your speakers, it can expand into kind of a larger surround sound system. You can usually just adjust EQ options to fit whatever kind of type of content you're watching. And obviously, you can compare this to like any other TV brand you want, but LG gives you incentives to use LG's TV with LG's soundbars because on select models and TVs, you get access to what LG is calling Wow Orchestra. You're gonna use both the TV speakers and the soundbar speakers at the same time, and with the TV pushing out more of the mid-range and treble, and the soundbar filling everything else out with sort of a big bass punch and soundstage. The soundbar itself sounds great on its own, but the design is also like really sleek, kind of typical LG design. When you pair it with an LG TV, I think that's when you're gonna get sort of that full immersive experience. And lastly, I did want to talk on the OS here. It's WebOS 24, as it got some pretty nice updates. So the first thing is LG is now offering up to 5 years of WebOS upgrades, so you get 5 years of peace of mind on top of their 5-year limited panel warranty. So if you're buying this set now, it's good to know that you'll receive that extended support. You'll also, if you want, get recommendations for shows and movies, along with all the expected streaming apps that are going to be available. LG even added additional tiles called Dynamic Info to show your recent activity within each category, so you can quickly jump to your favorite things. And on top of all of that, if you're into AI assistants, LG's got one here as well. You'll have access to AI concierge to do things like help recommend shows or movies to you, give you tips about your TV. If you need more technical help with your TV, WebOS 24 also has a chatbot built in if you want help with things like connecting like a soundbar or something. But one big thing you won't see in WebOS 24, if you don't want to, is ads. LG thankfully now allows you to turn that like feature off, so you don't get tons of ads clogging up your view when you just want to watch TV. There are a lot of TV options available. I chose to spend my own money on LG TVs because I trusted the technology. And that technology used to be reserved for really expensive sets. And LG has done an absolutely incredible job of bringing that flagship feature set to a lower cost options. And not only that, a lower cost options at huge panel sizes. If you're in the market for a large TV and you don't want to break your bank, you 100% have to check out LG's QNED 85. If you want to learn more, all the links will be down below.